Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zooming in on a really transformative period for babies, that 10 to 12-month mark.
Yeah, it's incredible. You really see them shifting gears, don't you? From these like squishy observers into,
Yeah.
well, mini humans on the move.
Exactly. Miniature explorers. It's a fascinating bridge, kind of moving from babyhood towards toddler territory.
Absolutely. And we've been looking at some great resources like the material in months 10, 12, which really lays out the key changes happening.
Right. And our mission here is basically to unpack that, to pull out the most important bits about this phase so you get a clearer picture of these significant leaps and what to expect.
Because a lot happens. We might be talking first steps, first actual words,
Mm-mm.
memory kicking in, personality really starting to blossom.
It's a big deal. Okay, so let's dive in. What are some of the core developmental shifts that really define these months?
Well, physically, mobility is definitely a headline. You'll likely see them pulling up to
Yeah,
stand.
using the sofa, the coffee table.
Exactly, cruising around the furniture. And, for some, maybe even those first wobbly independent steps start happening around now or soon after.
It just opens up their whole world, doesn't it? And it's not just the big stuff, the walking. What about the smaller movements? Fine motor skills.
Oh, huge leaps there too, that pincer grasp, for example.
Ah, yeah, picking up the tiny things.
Precisely. Thumb and forefinger. It's quite sophisticated.
Yeah.
And you'll see pointing, like really intentionally pointing at things they want or notice,
Mm-hmm.
waving bye-bye, clapping their hands, banging toys together.
Yeah.
They're really figuring out how their hands work and how to interact with objects.
It feels so much more deliberate, like they're figuring things out, what's happening inside their heads, cognitively speaking.
Yeah, well, a major one is object permanence really firming up.
So knowing something's still there even if they can't see it, like under a blanket.
Exactly. It's not just out of sight, out of mind anymore. This is fundamental for, memory, understanding the world. It even sets the stage for pretend play later on.
That makes sense.
And you'll see that starting too, the mimicking. They might grab a brush and try to brush their hair like you do or wipe a surface.
Is that just cute copying or is it deeper?
Oh, it's deep learning. Mimicking is how they figure out social rules, how objects are used, how to be part of the world. They're watching, processing, and practicing. It's really foundational learning.
Wow, okay. And language. That's often the one parents are really waiting for. What happens there?
Yeah, it's super exciting. This is often when you hear those first real words pop out.
Like mama or dada.
Yes, exactly. Often directed specifically at the parent. Or maybe uh-oh when something drops or bye-bye. And crucially, they're starting to understand more too. They can often follow simple commands like, can you give me the ball?
So communication is becoming much more two-way,
Definitely. They're connecting sounds to meaning in a much more intentional way.
which must affect how they interact socially too.
Absolutely. Socially and emotionally, it's a big time. Separation anxiety often peaks around now.
Oh, right. The clinginess when you
And
try to leave the room.
exactly that. They understand you're leaving and they don't like it. They're also showing clearer preferences,
Uh-huh.
favorite people, favorite toys,
Mm-hmm.
and you might see the first glimmers of, well, asserting their will. Maybe shaking their head no or pushing away food they don't want.
Yes. Then a little bit of pushback. Why does that start now? Is it defiance already?
It's not really defiance like an older kid. It's more about discovering they're a separate person with, their own likes and dislikes.
Hmm.
They're testing the waters, figuring out their own agency. It's actually a healthy sign of development.
That's a good way to look at it. Okay, let's talk practicalities. Feeding, how does that usually change?
Self-feeding really takes off. It can be messy, definitely. But they're keen to try, using their hands, maybe starting to experiment with the spoon. They're trying more textures. And you usually see a gradual move away from the bottle towards cups.
Sippy cups or even trying an open cup?
Yeah, both. It's all about practice.
And sleep, does it get any easier? Please say yes.
Huh. Well, it can. Some babies start consolidating naps, maybe down to 1 or 2 a day. Sleep training, if you've done it, might feel more stable.
But
But night wakings can still happen. Big developmental leaps like learning to stand or walk can disrupt sleep. Teething is often still a factor too. So progress, yes, but maybe not a perfectly straight line.
right, okay. Still a bit unpredictable. Our source kind of sums it up nicely. Mobility, mimicry, memory, and personality really defining this stage. Let's dig into those key changes a bit more. You mentioned movement becoming dominant. Why is that so significant beyond just getting around?
Well, think about it. Suddenly, their ability to explore just explodes. They
Hmm.
can reach things, investigate things up close, learn about space and distance in a totally new way. It fuels their curiosity and their sense of independence. It's not just physical, it drives cognitive growth too.
And language that babbling we've heard for months starts to sound different, more intentional.
Absolutely. It shifts from just exploring sounds to using specific syllables, often repetitively, like ba 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 or da da, with what seems like a clear purpose. Maybe pointing while they say it. It's the bridge to actual words.
And playtime changes too. Less just mouthing toys and more.
More purposeful imitation. They might try stacking blocks because they saw you do it, or putting shapes into a sorter. It's early problem solving, figuring out how things fit or work. Even the beginnings of pretend play, like using a block as a phone.
Even meals become a learning opportunity, you said.
Yeah, it's very social. They watch how everyone else eats intently. They want to try using utensils like you do, even if most of the food ends up everywhere but their mouth. They're learning table manners and coordination by watching and doing.
And that intensified attachment you mentioned, how else might that show up besides clinginess?
Stranger anxiety can definitely peak. They might get quite wary or even upset around people they don't know well. It shows they understand who their secure base is, their primary caregivers. It's actually a positive sign of their social understanding.
Wow, okay, so much change. But the source also points out some things stay the same, some important continuities. What shouldn't change?
Well, nutrition-wise, breast milk or formula is still really vital right up until 12 months. It's providing crucial fats, calories, nutrients for all this rapid growth.
Mm-hmm.
Solids are complementary at this stage, not replacements yet.
Got it. And the way we interact with them, that responsive caregiving.
Absolutely critical. Still need to tune into their cues, name their feelings, oh, you're frustrated, read books, sing songs. That consistent, warm interaction is the bedrock for their emotional security and learning. Nothing replaces that.
And routines, you mentioned those earlier, still important.
Hugely important. In a world that's rapidly changing for them with new skills and experiences daily, predictable routines for meals, naps, bedtime, they provide a sense of safety and security. Helps them know what's coming next.
Makes sense. And I guess with all this new mobility, supervision is still non-negotiable?
Oh, more than ever. Their curiosity is way ahead of their safety awareness. They can get into things so quickly now. Constant, close supervision is absolutely essential to keep them safe while they explore.
Okay, so given this explosion of development, are there specific things parents should look out for? Milestones where if they're not happening by 12 months, maybe it's time for a chat with the doctor.
Yeah, there are a few key areas. If by 12 months your baby isn't making any attempt to bear weight on their legs when supported, or isn't trying to crawl, pull up, or cruise, that's something to mention.
Okay, so lack of effort towards mobility. What else?
Oh, also, if they aren't responding consistently to their name or simple requests like no or come here, lack of gestures is another one, not pointing, waving, or trying to show you things.
Uh-huh.
And vocally, if they're only making vowel sounds without any consonants like B, D emerging in their babble, or just a general lack of interest in interacting with people or playing with toys, or not showing curiosity or imitating actions.
So it's about interaction, communication attempts, and movement efforts.
Exactly. And it's crucial to stress. Development happens in a range. But if you're seeing a consistent lack across several of these areas, interaction, mobility, communication, definitely bring it up with your pediatrician. It's always better to check.
That's really clear, helpful guidance. Okay, let's flip to the positive. What can parents actively do or introduce during these months to support all this amazing growth? Starting with mobility.
Sure. Push toys,
Mhm.
the sturdy ones they walk behind, not the seated walkers. Those aren't recommended.
Right, walker wagons, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Those can be great for confidence. Soft-soled shoes or just grippy socks can help with traction indoors. And just making sure there's safe furniture for them to pull up on and cruise along stable, low items, maybe anchored to the wall if needed.
Good tips. And you mentioned the walking timeline earlier. It's worth really emphasizing that, isn't it? The whole walking by one pressure.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a common myth.
Hmm.
The normal range for independent walking is really wide, anywhere from about 9 months up to 18 months is typical.
18 months, wow.
Yes. And walking early doesn't mean advanced, and walking later doesn't mean delayed on its own. Crawling, cruising, pulling up, those are all vital steps, building strength and coordination. Let them progress at their own pace.
That's so important for parents to hear. Okay, what about toys and activities for learning and play? What's good now?
This age loves exploring cause and effect and practicing those fine motor skills. So Shape sorters are fantastic. Simple puzzles with big knobs, stacking rings or blocks.
Things they can manipulate.
Exactly. And toys that encourage imitation toy phones, little brushes, pretend keys. Mirror play is great for self-awareness. Hiding objects under cups reinforces that object permanence.
Fun.
Oh, and things they can push, pull, open, close containers, balls, pop-up toys, maybe even a small tunnel to crawl through. Lots of options for active exploration.
Sounds great. And for feeding, as they move towards solids and self-feeding, any specific tools?
Yeah, training cups, straw cups, or open cups are generally preferred over traditional sippy cups for oral development. Getting some toddler-sized spoons and forks, even if they mostly use their hands.
Uh-huh.
And really focusing on offering a variety of finger foods with different textures. This is also a good time, with pediatrician guidance, to be introducing common allergens regularly, like peanut butter, eggs, fish. And don't be afraid of mild spices or herbs. Expanding their palate early is great.
Okay. Now, you flagged something really important earlier. Gagging versus choking.
Yeah.
That causes a lot of anxiety. Can you explain the difference again?
Yes, definitely. Gagging is noisy. The baby might cough, sputter, their eyes might water, they might look distressed, but they're actively working to clear their airway. It's a protective reflex.
Okay, noisy is gagging.
Right, choking is silent, or maybe just a weak, ineffective cough. Their airway is blocked, they can't cry or make noise, they might turn blue. That's an emergency.
Silent is the danger sign.
Exactly. And honestly, taking an infant first aid and CPR class is one of the best things caregivers can do. Knowing how to respond is invaluable.
Couldn't agree more. Essential. Shifting back to language, how can we actively support those emerging words?
Keep talking. Narrate what you're doing. Read simple board books, daily ones with pictures of familiar objects, animals, routines. Point to things constantly and name them. Look, a ball. Here's your spoon. That repetition builds connections.
And what actually counts as a first word? Is it just any sound?
Good question. It's more than just babble.
Yeah.
A real first word is used intentionally and consistently to mean something specific.
Okay.
So saying mama while looking directly at mom or reaching for her, that counts. Saying ba every time they see a ball, that counts. It needs context and consistency.
Got it. Intentional, consistent, contextual. And even if they're not saying much yet, they understand a lot more.
Oh, way more. Their receptive language, what they understand, is far ahead of their expressive language, what they can say. They can follow simple directions, respond to your tone, understand gestures, keep talking, keep modeling. Their brains are like sponges, soaking it all up.
Amazing. Okay, so lots of things to do. What about things to maybe avoid or be mindful not to do during these months?
Well, try not to overschedule them. They really need plenty of unstructured playtime to just explore and figure things out on their own terms. Too many classes or activities can be overwhelming.
Right, downtime is important. What else?
Obvious one, but always worth repeating. Keep choking hazards completely out of reach. Coins, buttons, nuts, whole grapes, popcorn, small toy parts. Be vigilant. Their exploring involves putting everything in their mouth.
Constant vigilance. And discipline
Right.
is saying no all the time the way to go.
It's generally less effective than redirection at this age. Instead of just no, try guiding them to something safe or appropriate. Let's not climb on that. Let's play with your blocks instead. Clear, simple guidance on what they can do works better.
Okay, redirect instead of just prohibit. And screen time, still the same advice.
Yes, the recommendation from groups like the American Academy of Pediatrics is still generally no screen time for kids under 18, 24 months, except for maybe video chatting with family. Real-world interaction and play are just too important for their development right now.
Good reminder. And finally, expectations around attention spans.
Keep them realistic. Expecting them to focus on one thing for ages just isn't going to happen. 2 to 5 minutes on an activity might be typical before they're off exploring something else.
Yeah.
That's normal. It's how they learn. Don't mistake it for inability to focus.
Right, short bursts are okay. So thinking about their inner world again, memory and emotions, what's developing there?
You see memory strengthening quite clearly. They remember routines like what happens before bath time. They recognize familiar places, show excitement seeing grandparents. Emotionally, you might see early empathy, trying to pat you if you pretend to cry. They express preferences much more clearly, show obvious joy, but also frustration when they can't do something. A wider emotional range is emerging.
And what kind of play taps into their thinking skills now?
Definitely games that play with object permanence, hiding toys. Peekaboo is still fun. Cause and effect toys are great. Push a button, music plays. Simple gesture games like patty cake or pointing to body parts.
And you mentioned parallel play earlier. What does that actually look like?
It's basically playing near other babies, but not really with them yet. So two babies might be sitting side by side in the sandpit, each doing their own thing, maybe occasionally watching each other or grabbing the same toy, but not truly interacting or cooperating.
So side by side, not together.
Exactly. It's a normal and important step towards more social play later on. They're learning just by being around peers. And again, expect them to move between this and solo play quickly. Short attention spans are key here. Repetition and brief engagement are how they learn.
Okay. And sleep, you mentioned potential disruptions. Are there common transitions around sleep as they near 1-year-old?
Yes. The big one is often dropping that third nap, if they still had one, and moving towards just 1 or 2 naps per day. Usually the morning nap gets shorter or disappears, consolidating into a longer midday nap eventually.
Right.
You might also see some bedtime battles emerging, testing boundaries, not wanting the fun to end. And yeah, that sleep regression around mastering big motor skills like walking is pretty common too. Temporary, usually.
Temporary, good to know. Okay, so as that first birthday looms, what practical transitions should parents be preparing for, especially around feeding?
The biggest one is usually talking to the pediatrician about switching from formula or breast milk as the primary drink to whole cow's milk, typically around 12 months.
Okay, whole milk becomes the go-to drink.
Generally, yes, after checking with the doctor. And alongside that, continuing the process of weaning off the bottle completely and onto cups.
Makes sense. What else comes up around the first birthday?
Dental care.
Hmm.
Time to get serious about brushing those little teeth that have emerged, usually with just water or a tiny smear of fluoride-free toothpaste initially, and using a soft baby toothbrush. Also, scheduling that 1-year checkup with the pediatrician is key. Lots of important checks happen then. And revisiting baby-proofing. As they get more mobile and potentially start climbing, you need to reassess safety.
Right, the checkup. What should parents expect or maybe ask about at that 1-year visit?
Well, the doctor will do growth measurements, check developmental milestones, likely give some vaccinations, maybe do vision hearing screening, possibly a finger prick to check iron levels.
Okay.
Good questions to ask are things like, is my baby's growth on track? How do we best handle the transition to whole milk? Any concerns about their development? And definitely, when should we schedule their first dental visit?
Yes, the dentist. When is that usually recommended?
The general guidance is to have the first dental checkup around the first birthday, or within 6 months of the first tooth erupting.
Okay, and basic tooth care before then.
As soon as teeth appear, you can gently wipe them with a clean, damp washcloth or gauze after feedings and before bed. Once there are a few more, you can introduce that soft baby toothbrush, just getting them used to the routine.
Good habits early. Now, that first birthday itself, it feels like such a huge milestone, doesn't it? Emotionally and culturally.
Oh, absolutely. It marks the end of infancy, the start of toddlerhood. Across many cultures, it's a major celebration. And for parents, it's often, a real mix of feelings.
Yeah. Like what?
Like immense pride, seeing how far their tiny baby has come, maybe some nostalgia or even sadness that the baby phase is over, excitement for what's next. It's a big emotional landmark. Creating some kind of little family ritual or tradition can be a nice way to mark it.
That's a lovely thought. Okay, shifting to the parents' experience through all this months, 10 to 12, it sounds exhilarating but also exhausting. What mindset helps?
Exhilarating and exhausting sums it up perfectly. It helps to remember that if you start seeing early tantrums or more frustration, it's normal. It's part of them learning to communicate and manage big feelings, not a reflection on you.
Right, it's developmental, not personal.
Exactly. Also, accept that contradiction where they're pushing for physical independence but might be extra clingy emotionally. That's normal too. And validate your own feelings. It's okay to feel a bit wistful about the baby days ending.
Yeah.
Your role is shifting. You're parenting a little person now, not just an infant.
That's a big shift. The source includes some great reflection prompts for caregivers. Can you share a couple?
Yeah, they're really helpful for perspective. Things like asking yourself, what's something surprising I've learned about myself since becoming a parent? Or what part of my baby's personality right now just makes me smile?
Nice.
Or maybe what feels harder now compared to a few months ago? And how are we adapting? And thinking ahead, what routines or special moments from this first year do I really want to keep going as they become a toddler? Just taking a moment to reflect can be grounding.
Those are really powerful questions. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into the busy 10 to 12 month stage, what are the main takeaways for listeners?
I think the biggest one is development happens in a range, not on a deadline. Every baby is unique. Try to celebrate the effort, the trying, the small steps forward, not just ticking off milestones by a certain date.
Right. Focus on progress, not just perfection.
Exactly. And remember that clinginess, maybe some fussiness, stranger wariness, these are often signs of healthy attachment and normal emotional growth. It shows they feel secure with you and are figuring out the social world.
That's incredibly reassuring. So with all these foundations being laid, movement, language, understanding what's a final thought to leave people with.
Just maybe consider how everything happening right now, those first wobbly steps, the attempts to communicate, the way they're figuring out how things work, these aren't just fleeting moments. They are literally building the pathways in their brain, laying the foundation for all the independence, learning, and unique personality that's still to come. It's pretty amazing to watch it unfold.